I want to very briefly know, like, how was that vibe at your home?
It was always musical. There was always music playing. Whether it be on the TV without the remote. Like in my family, my father, my mother, they used to listen to songs every morning. And that's how the vibe used to be. Every morning you wake up to go to school, there would be a song playing. When you would come back, there would be a song playing. So dad got some cassettes of Western music because he likes to listen to everything. And we had records of Boney M and all the old classics, ABBA and everything. So we had records of it. Likewise, we got some cassettes of Mozart and solo piano. So we used to play. And right from the first track, the piano was playing. I didn't realize it was a piano specifically at that time because I was very small. But I think I heard a particular sonata, which that got me hooked on. I'm like, I want to learn this. There's no way I'm letting this go. And so that was the moment. I'm like, yes, I'm learning this. This is my Bombay house. It's an old house, of course. I was born here. And this is where I come to practice with my first piano, which I ever bought. And this is kind of like my escape house where I just come alone and to relax, rewind, and practice on my old piano. And this house is actually very, very old. It was my grandpa's house, and it was bought in the 1980s. And ever since then, we've just kept it as it is. Not many changes, though. So I just started working and had earned enough money to, being able to buy a digital piano. My dad said, "Why are you buying a digital one if we can procure one, even an old one, for less money?" So then I found this one actually. This is my oldest. Well, it is old, but this is my first. So this is I think this is 85 to 90 years old, so pretty old. You can see from the way it's carved and the wood, and these are very reminiscent of old pianos, old upright pianos back in the British days. So this is a John Brinsmith and Sons from London. Funnily enough, I got it from a Bengali lady who lives in Bombay, who had gotten it from Calcutta, whose great grandpa used to work for the East India Company. So ये piano तब से है. So it even opens up very differently. So most pianos have a reading stand over here. This thing opens up from inside. So you have this and goes down. And it has something which is very different. It has a spiral chair. So it just rolls like this. You want to decrease your height, you want to increase the height, and you can just roll it. So because it's an old piano, it has a very old sound because of the wood. Actually, the wood is very old. The wood is 2 to 3 times older than the piano actually is, because it needs to be that old to go into the piano and give its distinctive sound. The strings, 280 of them, most of which have got rust. Because it has this rustic sound, I can make any old piece or any classical piece which is what I was trained in as a pianist, to sound as authentic as it was when it was composed. The trouble with this is that it detunes. So if it's raining like today, then we can hope to have some tuning done, and then I can get along with the playing. So that's basically this fellow. I like to call my pianos fellows. And each one of them has their own distinctive, charisma to it, which they bring out whenever I play. So, it's very, very different. It's nothing like a traditional or a modern grand piano or a piano would sound like. So, it just sounds like that.
The kind of sounds that a piano makes, it's very different from a keyboard. You cannot even hope to get it from a digital instrument, because what an acoustic instrument can give you, it's like a fingerprint. Every sound that it makes is different from the previous one. So there are innumerable possibilities which you can get. So you can make the sound of chirping birds come from the piano. You can make the sound of an ocean. You can make the sound of night. So what makes me crazy about pianos is that they are different from each other. There's the nostalgia of how old it is. And the person who made it, or thinking about what wood to use, thinking about how this panel should be shaped. It's like speaking to the instrument, right? And in short, I'm like asking the piano, okay, tell me about yourself. It's kind of like that, right?
It's like it's pushing my hand up. ऐसा लगता है ना? So what it should do is just come back up to rest position, right? But what it's doing is there's that overtone which is coming. So the staccato part also has an extra reverb to it, which is so see that? There are some overtones which you need, and some overtones which you don't at all need in a staccato specific song. So
this is without first voicing. That one sounds more better.
It sounds more robust, but when it's tuned, it will sound complete.
So, Amistry and Company is a very small place where we rebuild pianos, sell new pianos. Since 1905, we've been working with pianos. I met Shubham actually right here in this shop. His father knew that this shop existed. I think his father used to roam around in this area a lot when he was young. That's how his father incidentally just bought Shubham one day. We met, and from then onwards, things started rolling. We are good friends now. And he's crazy about pianos, so he always visits us whenever he's in Bombay.
but it's reached a point where it becomes too crazy. So I think that's what so whatever comes to his shop, he's like calling me up, okay, there's a new set of pianos, or there is a new model of, of piano coming in, and then I'm like, yes, I'm there. So it's like that. I know what a piano is, right? It's gonna be the same. The mechanism is the same. You have 88 keys, you have a body, you have strings. But it's again, that feeling you get from every piano, which is unique. So it's for that. I want to see how different it is. Every person has faces, right? What we show to everyone. And with music, it's the most genuine, it's the most honest version of yourself. Why? Because you have a medium to express with that can't lie. What you play is what you're showing. Even if you mess up in a note, you're showing that messed up note. There's something in you which is messing up, which is why you're messing up that note. It's not just by accident, right? So, with a piano, it's for me at least, it is like a companion, because there's a lot of emotions and a lot of expressions which we have, but we can't express. As a piano, to me, I can talk to it what I want to without talking, and it's a conversation which never finishes. So whatever I want to say or express, I can just play it, right? There are 88 notes. Those 88 notes are there for your interpretation, not its interpretation. And what I feel is that when I listen to other musicians and when I jam with them, when I play with them, it's like the piano beckoning to, be a part of it. Thus, me being a part of it, right? So, with that perspective, music is something where you can't lie, and that's how the piano and the musician become one when you're playing with them, or when you're playing just the instrument yourself.
Why can't you walk the way I walk? Why can't you see the way I see? Why can't you talk the way I talk? Why can't you be how I want you to be? So why don't you break me from this spell? Why don't you take me away from this hell? Why don't you break me and hope that all will be well? Why don't you break me from this spell? Why don't you take me away from this hell? Why don't you break me and hope that all will be well? Why don't you break me and set me you break me from this spell? Why don't you take me away from this hell? Why don't you break me from this spell? Why don't you take me away from this hell? Why don't you break me and hope that all will be well? And why don't you break me and set me free?
One of my main dreams is to perform at Royal Albert Hall in London. But if we come down from that a bit, then I would want to perform at, you know, the old places that we have in India. Say in the backdrop of Qutub Minar or in the backdrop of Taj Mahal, or maybe in, you know, in the Colosseum at Rome, or just outside it. Even if it is just me and just one piano, there doesn't need to be an audience, you know, who has to sit there and all. It can just be a walk-in audience. It can be a street performance for all of that. But if I'm playing, I want to be able to attract those people with my playing. So it just means that I'm connecting to them, and my music is connecting, you know, to them. So if they actually just listen to it and make that music heard all across, that is what I would want. You know, that is the kind of musician I would want to be. It's not like a big dream or anything, but it's just, you can say, hope. So I always follow with hope, and I have faith in it, in my music. So I think that will, you know, surely accomplish what I have hoped for. So.